One quick thing I was going to ask you about that you mentioned as well is like you going back to sculpting and selling your work for just a nickel. Do you think in a lot of ways like the passion is what drives the ambition? You know, you initially do something because you love it, and later on you look at, well, how could I actually make a living out of this, rather than going in saying, well, I'm going to be an whatever, and then, you know, that being the driving force as to like what makes you stand out.
You know, I think when I was selling those early pieces, I was also kind of caught up in the romance of it, right? Because I come from a very pragmatic family. My dad was a cop, like I mentioned, and to be the first one who was selling his artwork in that type of dynamic, I thought was very romantic. I embraced the artiste, with the accent at the end. And even if I was losing money, I still thought, I'm doing something here. I'm creating something that people see value in. I was lucky enough, this gallery down in Laguna gave me a show, and I think I had like 25 pieces. The most expensive piece was maybe $75, right? So I was making 25. But someone came in and bought them all. Like one person came in and bought everything I did. And I was just like, wow. It really resonated. It really, probably created a monster. It's probably insufferable to live with that week. But I thought, I've made something. For someone not just buy one, but buy them all. Like just buy out the show.
It's a lot of validation right there.
Right. It was a lot of validation. And then coming in and having, David, offer me a role as an artist really was transformative. The payoff is not going to be immediate. I'm always cautious telling students when I go lecture about how I got into the industry because I feel kind of bad. I don't have $200,000 in student debt that's shackled around my ankle that I'm dragging with me.
Well, you're not a real artist.
I'm not. I'm not, right?
According to certain people you worked with.
Yeah, right.
If you're not in debt.
If you're not in debt, if you haven't suffered for your crap. But then I think there are people out there, who can do this without going into debt. Who can do it? It's just a different path.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying earlier too, that when you interview people and ask what they're doing to improve themselves every day, rather than getting stale, because I do firmly believe that. Especially back in the 90s, I'd see so many people who would hold on to their couple of tricks, like I'm really good at Sparks or whatever it might be. And that, I think for me at least, was always a driver to make tutorials and training and stuff like that, especially back then, was just, if I give away all my secrets, it's going to force me to have to learn and create new ways of doing things because I'm not relying on these little things. And, I do think there's a few people who, again, someone you mentioned, who might get recognition for this one thing they do, but then it's assumed that they're going to perform these miracles every single day. And I think it's like a muscle. The more that you actually are forcing yourself out of your comfort zone, the more that you will work that muscle and you actually will be able to come up with solutions and better yourself. And part of that is learning and challenging yourself.
You need to get comfortable working in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
You need to get comfortable working outside of your knowledge base and force yourself to grow and to learn things. I think that's what's driven, before we signed on, I mentioned that I since leaving ImageWorks, I haven't worked at any place longer than 5 years. I've tried to pick up and move every 3 to 5 years because the minute I start feeling a little comfortable, it's a warning sign. It's a red flag. I need to get out of there and challenge myself again. The clock's kind of running out on me now. I'm 60 this year, and I probably don't have that many opportunities left if I want to retire at 60. But the minute I start getting itchy, like, I got this figured out. Like, I can't. I've got to try something different. Like I've been a creative recruiter. I fell into that because at ImageWorks, I was a hiring manager, and I got to work with the recruiters and understand what a good reel looked like, and understand what a good modeling reel looked like, and what a rigging reel looked like. And I did that only by sitting down with the people who did it. I'm going to sit down with the animators and listen to them talk about what a good reel is. Because I've never set a keyframe in my life, but I can tell you what good looks like. And just keep pushing that envelope to kind of be uncomfortable. Excuse me. Be challenged.